Hello and welcome to the All About Pigeons podcast. I am Phil.
Everybody knows you're Phil.
I am Chris.
And he's Phil.
Let's just do it that way. Hello and welcome to the All About Pigeons podcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm Phil.
Phil, I've always wanted to say, I just think that you got such a cool name. You're really lucky to have a name like that. I'm so tired of being called Chris, but I'll take it.
That's good stuff.
So let's talk about pigeon clubs. The race clubs, the specialty breeds clubs, roller clubs, all the different state, city, whatever clubs. We're both members of a club, at least one club. I don't know if I'm also a member of the NPA, but I have not been able to go to any kind of conventions or anything like that. But we do participate in our state club. Speaking for myself, I've definitely been able to make connections and, come up on birds I've been looking for through that club. Easier than when, I'm just doing it by myself out here in the middle of nowhere. What do you think about the club and, your experiences with it? Has it been a helpful tool to you?
Oh, for sure. For sure. That's where I went to my first show. That's the first show I ever saw. I met a lot of cool people. One of these guys lives down the road from me. And we get along real good. Super cool guys. You meet people with the same interests.
Right.
May not have anything else in common, but you're there for one thing, and that's the birds.
Yeah.
And so that's been cool. It's you always meet people that know way more than I do about pigeons. I mean, that's been super cool. There's so much more to know than I'll ever even scratch the surface of.
Right.
So,
yeah. You get to talk to some of these older breeders and guys who've really been in the hobby for a long time. And that's, so, where I'm at, it's super rural. And for a long time, I even was just like, I'm going to just start my own club up here. And, that's when I kind of first found out about the state club. So I'm like, I'll go down there to check it out. And I was like, oh man, these guys already got it going. I'll just become a member here. It's way easier than going through all the stuff of trying to start a club. And between here and there, there's other people that will usually carpool and pick up. And, it's cool because we talk pigeons the whole drive down. And, that's been really helpful to me. I definitely got, Gary's been a real good mentor that's kind of helped me. And he came in right when I had that sickness coming through, and I was just reaching for straws, and he was the one who was pushing me to, the next step is to take it to a university or a vet and have him look at the dead bird. And, sure enough, that was the step that put an end to everything. I finally figured out what it was, and I'm able to get back in the swing of things and, move forward with it. And I mean, I guess eventually I might have came to that conclusion, but I wasn't doing that at the time. I was just throwing medicine at stuff and not really knowing what to do, really.
I feel like you'd quit playing with birds for a while if you hadn't figured it out.
Yeah, dude, it was getting hard, man. When you start losing families, that's heartbreaking. When you got birds that you raise as babies and they become papas, and you just start watching that whole tree just fall apart from the roots up, man. It was, and my son too, he did the rollers and he lost all of his birds and I lost all of mine. And I mean, it was straight up heartbreak. And I'm like, come on, give me the one good thing would be if I found out what it was. And oh geez, that was a lot of pain. But yeah, talking with Gary and I've read about it in the books, but I didn't really register. It's like, that's actually the thing you do. You do take your birds to these vets. And I had a heck of a time trying to find a vet that would take a dead bird. I ended up taking it to a university, and they did it. And
shout out to Midwestern University.
Midwestern, thank you. Yeah. Yep. They're going to start getting all kinds of dead birds sent to them now.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Midwestern University in the southwestern part of the country.
Yep. Just mail them your birds. Don't. But no, it was good. And I mean, I just want to say, I feel like that's with any kind of hobby, it's always good to have a mentor, and someone to kind of, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, and you don't have to copy what they do, but especially having them, if it's someone that can come out to your setup and look at your loft and your breeding situation and give you pointers and stuff, it was super helpful for me.
Oh, for sure. You don't have, you're never going to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of information out there to get a guy started, but there's enough information out there to get a guy in trouble too.
Sure, yeah.
You need good practical knowledge, working knowledge of people that know their stuff. Not everything is Google.
Oh man, Google gives you weird answers.
It's just like WebMD.
Yeah.
You start Googling symptoms, you're screwed.
You got
Stop
cancer.
Googling. The diagnosis is this and whatever, and the actual cure to this is just to stop Googling and take it to the vet.
Yeah. Because I had these books on pigeon health and stuff, and I'm looking at symptoms and stuff, and then I look on Google and it gives me something totally different. Or I think I find out what it is in one of these books, and I look up, how do you treat this? Because the book says this, and then Google's like something totally different. And I'm like, jeez, I'm gonna have to go with what the book says. I don't know where Google is pulling this from, but
right.
But yeah, especially if you got someone who's like, yeah, I dealt with this 10 years ago, and this is what I did, and it was done, and I never saw a problem again. That's definitely way better than Google.
Your situation was also one that I feel like somebody that was just a bird keeper in general would have just put their eye on it.
Mm-hmm.
You might have had a shot earlier on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Before it got too bad.
Yeah. Hindsight 2020.
So yeah, if anybody's out there that doesn't belong to a club, I'm sure there's one in your area. Almost every state has a club. Definitely there's cities, bigger cities that have the clubs going on, and specialty breeds clubs. And if you look in the back of like a purebred pigeon magazine or something, you'll just see a list of all the different breeds of pigeons clubs and stuff.
One of my mentors, the guy that I talk to the most, I don't think he's even in a club anymore.
He's not with a roller club or nothing?
I think he just supports them.
Okay.
That's what I understand. But he's always hooking them up and stuff. But I don't think he's in a club anymore. But I'm sure everybody has been in a club at one time. And he's been really helpful to me. The guy's great. I won't name drop, but he's a good guy, super good guy.
Well, you got a nice experienced mentor. That's super helpful.
The way we met was super cool too. We met. I didn't even know anything about the guy, and he just turned out to be just awesome. Awesome person. We get along real good. He's kind of a cranky old fart, but it's we have a good time every time we get together.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool, man. And something else I wanted to bring up and talk about, and I feel like this is kind of specific to certain clubs. That's culling birds. And Philip, could you tell me the difference between culling and killing?
Now you're name dropping. So killing is what it is. Culling, to cull a bird means to remove. It doesn't mean to remove it from the earth. It means to remove it from your situation. You pull it out of the breeding or your flying program or whatever your bird is there for. You pull it out for that. Now, if the bird is sick, you remove it to treat it, or you remove it to do what you got to do. It doesn't necessarily mean to kill the animal. It just means to get it out of your situation. For instance, if a guy winds up with a dozen pair of birds, and he intends to breed with them, and only 7 pair turn out to be prolific breeders that give good, healthy offspring, he would cull the other breeders from his program. He would remove them. He may give them away. He may sell them, or whatever he feels like, or he may just turn them into flyers until they've exceeded their lifespan. Whatever. It doesn't necessarily mean to kill something.
Right.
A cull is a bird that guy's not going to use. Well, I mean, in my opinion, in reality, unless you're selling winning pairs or birds with amazing records or whatever, good stuff, you're selling them to make money, or you're buying somebody's culls. It's stuff that they're not going to use, that they don't really need to keep, or maybe they don't want to keep.
Yeah. And I mean, one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? Maybe some guy's going for a color that young bird didn't come out with perfectly, but it'd be perfect for what you want. And that would be work out. I mean, if you're selling a bunch of spade leg babies and stuff like that, or never, and this should be obvious, but never try to sell anybody sick birds, people. That's messed up. But if you got birds that, let's say you're a racer or in some kind of performing issue, and all you're really looking for is birds that perform well, and you're culling birds before they can even get to the age of performing because you don't like the way they look. Or not even culling. Like if you're just killing those birds, which I see all the time. People do just, the feathers weren't right, so I'm just pulling it. And they're not even showing these birds straight performing birds. I kind of have an issue with that. There's lessons in this with animal husbandry. Like if there's a bird that's so injured, like you got a bird of prey came in and wiped out one of your birds and it's hanging on by tendons, put that bird out of its misery. But killing babies because of a feather color when it's not even a show bird, I think that's excessive. That's when it should be, let's promote this hobby, give those birds to some young kids or somebody else, and get them that pigeon bug, get them going. I mean, otherwise you're literally killing the hobby by just overly excessively. I get it, like it's selective breeding and stuff like this, but yeah, to cull, you're just separating it out. You're not killing it.
Well, I'll play devil's advocate here.
Uh-oh.
I have a different opinion on that. When you're breeding, or when I'm breeding anything, let's just say, for instance, the satinets. Okay, they have genetics in them that if you breed them wrong, it totally turns them into a different bird, a bird with many faults. It's a DQ, actually. You don't pair them correctly. There's a gene in them that completely washes out the coloring. Okay, if I give that bird to somebody to get them into the hobby, and they start farming those birds, they're going to be selling stuff that nobody would use, nobody would want to have, or nobody should have. I mean, great pets. I have a few like that, but we're not cranking them out.
Yeah.
They have faults, and they're my pets. I let them do bird things, but we're not, we don't turn them out. I don't think that's responsible.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, though, pets, they would be perfect for somebody who wants a pigeon as a pet, which is like an exploding hobby right now. There's so many people with pigeons as pets now.
I think there are a lot, and I think there are enough sources for pets that ruin a pure breed. As a breeder myself, I wouldn't give those to somebody that was going to breed them.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and you would tell them and be upfront. Hey, these feathers here, this would be a DQ. This isn't really good gene pool stuff to breed. But I mean, a lot of these people that have these pigeons as pets, I mean, the majority of the ones that I see, like in the Facebook groups, they're like ferals or just a really generic homer. I think that even a genetically kind of messed up frill would look awesome. I mean, they're cool looking birds. Like that'd be a really cool bird to have on your shoulder as a pet.
Right. No, I'm not saying kill them off. I'm saying I would be sure I knew, everything has a purpose.
You'd have to be careful. Yeah, you'd want to make sure that it wasn't. And look, I get the idea of like, we got to where we are with all these different breeds because of this is the trait we want. These are the ones we're going to breed, and staying with that for sure.
The problem is there's so many peddlers out there, man. If they got a hold of, a decent pair of birds in really great condition, they would be breeding and they would be selling crap, and they would be it's just a peddler is somebody that sells a crap bird as a good bird to somebody that's unsuspecting.
Right. Yeah.
And that's not okay. I mean, that's not cool. So that's why I'm careful about who I turn what loose to.
Yeah. And even for buying too. I mean, that's another good reason to be part of a club, because everybody, and it's not like someone's gonna just come in there and chalk off a bunch of crap birds on people and then disappear. They're people that you see.
Yeah, when you're going to the clubs, you should have a little bit of an idea of who has what. If you're paying attention to the shows and stuff, you can see who's got birds that are showing well, who's got birds that are placing well, whose birds are in good condition. You can see all that if you're paying attention to the shows. If you're just going out and buying a bunch of birds, you'll learn pretty quick.
Yeah, I think the best place to buy a bird is, through someone that that other people have bought birds through and been happy with. It's through the club. It's a good place to buy birds. It's kind of hairy, some of the online deals and stuff. We've talked before about all the scams that are going and stuff like that. But
so you got some birds here, just a few days ago?
I did.
From a guy you had never met.
But he's got a reputation, and I know guys that have bought from him, so that makes it okay.
So how did you know? So how did you find this guy? Did he contact you? You contact him? What happened?
I contacted him from a guy in our club, gave me his name, and he's bought birds from him before. But he is out of state.
Where's he at?
Oregon.
So 3 states away.
Yeah, and I never have. I had birds shipped here, but we got the birds shipped here, and that was pretty interesting. But
lucky, because we've been hot for a long time.
Yeah, and that worked out good. We were actually waiting for it to cool off to mail the birds, and that gave me some time to kind of scrounge up some money to buy the birds. So everything timed out just right with it. And we did a mailing on a Monday, so that way they'd get here in time, and not sit in the post office over the weekend, sort of a thing. So I'm gonna flip open this William Levi Encyclopedia, and I'm gonna start reading a description. As soon as you know what breed I'm reading, I need you to just shout it out, okay? I want to see how smart you are with all these breeds. So the origin is from Scotland, and let's see, around 1850 or earlier. Whether two strains were created independently at the same time or whether one country shipped birds to another is uncertain. The description is a performing breed whose performance is restricted to the ground floor.
Oh, man.
Anything yet?
Oh, wait, you got some of those. It's the Parlor Roller.
It's a Parlor Roller. See, look at that. You're good. I can just read a few sentences of a description and you got it. There's how many birds in that book?
You set me up. Are they the only ones that roll on the floor?
Yeah, they got the Parlor tumblers, which will do backflips, but they stand and they do a backflip and land on their feet. Mm-hmm.
Did they look the same? Or are they physically different?
Yeah, the tumblers, they look a little different. These things have a real, kind of slanky, look to them. They got short feet, long body, really small bird. I think it said 7 to 10 ounces.
I'm going to just put this out here right now because it just popped into my head. when we cite off stuff like this and we're talking about it, we should probably post an example on the Facebook page.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. I'll just take a picture of some of the ones I got here, actually.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah, these I'm super excited to get into this breed. I don't have, a lot of different breeds. I try to stick with like just 2 so I can maintain focus with them. And so yeah, I got 5 pairs. So hopefully they all match up together. I'm still kind of figuring out the hens and the cockbirds right now and putting together, but I got a really pretty almond one and some blacks and
you're
browns.
Sure you have 5 pair?
I'm thinking so. I'm so far. There was one situation where I think I had 2 hens and one where I had 2 cocks, so I flipped them, and I think they should all match up. But just
good now.
Yeah, just like with like the racers and with the rollers and stuff, there's different bloodlines, I guess, of the rollers, and so the blacks are a bloodline and the browns are a bloodline. So I got those 2, and after a couple of days of letting them kind of calm down from the shipping, I busted them out and was rolling them on the carpet in my shop here, and I'm taking them to the park tomorrow with the kids. And,
how does that work? What are you doing? Kicking them like a can, or how does that work?
Yeah. So, and this is funny because I've read articles about, they even have like, guys really believe in certain ways of how you get the roll first started or whatever. But yeah, you put them in your hand and you roll them, and they do backflip somersaults, and they just keep going and going. So typically, I mean, I think most guys like on the roller groups on Facebook I see are 20 to maybe 60 feet and stuff like that. The world record is 1,037 feet. They said that bird rolled for 15 minutes or something like that.
But these ones you got are 500 footers, right?
I don't know. That'd have to be a pretty steep hill. Get them going and they can't stop. And that's one of the things they said about with training is that when you train these, you don't want them to stop on their own, because once they learn how to stop the roll, then they'll always stop. So you want to, as you're rolling them, once you feel like they're kind of getting to a point where they might stop, you grab them up, and that's how you train them.
You think they think they're flying, or are they getting a buzz off of the spins?
I don't know. I mean, so I guess that some guys will say that some of their young will actually fly like 2 or 3 flights, and then that'll be it. Then there would be a completely flightless bird the rest of their life. Like when they're first born and they get to that point where they got feathers, they'll fly around a little bit, and then they'll do a roll in the air, and then they never fly again. But then some guys, yeah, they say they never fly at all.
What must they be thinking?
Oh man, I mean, think of the point of view. I would just be like, sky ground, sky ground, sky ground.
I've done this before. I did it in a tractor tire down the hill.
I saw that, man. You were in that Smashing Pumpkins video. That was pretty cool. It was back in the day. I don't know. It reminds me of, remember them old cars you got when you were a kid? You'd wind them up backwards and let them shoot off. Yeah. That's what it reminds me of. Just something like, I love performance breeds, and this is a breed that you can really, kind of play with and interact with, and the kids, they can take them out to the park and, oh, I dropped the bird, it's not going to take off and fly away and never see it again. It's just going to hit the ground and start rolling, so right. It's great for kids too. But they're a cool looking bird. At first when I saw them, I was kind of surprised. I've seen pictures of them and stuff like that, but when you see a bird in person, it's always different. You can really see it in a real way, just the way they're built and stuff. And I got them in a cage next to my homers, and they look really tiny next to these homers. But very, very cool looking birds. They got really pretty eyes, and like I said, some of the colors you can get on these are really pretty too. But it's really about the performance aspect of it that I'm really drawn into.
How much does a bird like that cost these days?
I tell you, man, when I was first looking, I was getting hit. I was kind of getting sticker shock, and I was like, well, I guess I might not ever get some of these birds because, holy cow, they're kind of expensive. But
what were they asking you for?
Yeah, some of them were like $100 a bird, and I kind of saw that throughout, and I thought that was kind of high for a bird. Me, I probably got the reputation as the cheapskate when it comes to buying pigeons, but that's too steep for me. But I ended up, this guy gave me a smoking deal on these, and he's like, if you buy them all, I'll give you this price on them. And so I got them for $20 a bird.
Nice.
Yeah, I was really happy with that. You know, the shipping was a lot. You know, shipping 10 birds.
You got $29 a bird. Doesn't
Yeah.
sound so big if you think of it that way.
Right. Yeah. So I'm really happy with it. It's a it's a breed I've always kind of been starstruck with, and you know, hunting it out for a while to finally find it was pretty cool. So I'm happy about that. And you know what? I don't know for sure, but I gotta think that this breed of bird isn't as big of a target for birds of prey, not being in the sky and everything else.
Yeah.
Maybe like dogs at the park, they might want to go after it, but
they wouldn't be hard to catch.
No. Yeah, I mean, flopping around like
around?
Yeah, they'll walk around. Yeah, they walk around like a regular pigeon. Now, when you go to grab them, they'll immediately start doing the roll.
Really?
Yeah, they flip right into it.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Now, will they stay like that forever?
Yeah. Once they get into that, man, that'll be their thing. I'm gonna take half of them out tomorrow to the park and see what kind of distances they roll, and I'll put some videos up on the Facebook too, show you guys what's good with that. But I did want to touch on the bird of prey. Well, we still got a little bit of time here. Obviously,
bird of prey wants to touch on you.
The bird of prey wants to touch on all the pigeons in the sky, and
all the pretty pigeons.
And I know it's worse for some guys, especially like it seems like California is just stacked with them for whatever reason. Like, and where we live, we got ravens all over out here, and typically I don't have too many bird of prey attacks. I mean, I've only ever lost one bird. We've had them come through before and push our birds up, but I've only ever lost one. We're kind of lucky in that, but I know I hear about it all the time, you know. And guys, there was a guy who did a post. The answer to the bird of prey problem is just breed more birds. These guys have these big breeding programs just because they're losing every time they fly. They're losing a bird. That's rough.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that some, you know, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna have some extras when I go to compete, because when I lose some, I'm gonna need some. That's just the bottom line. That's the only answer to you know, I mean, if you're gonna compete, you got to have alternates. Period.
Right. Well, especially if it's like if it's a 11 bird fly, you can't be like, look, I got hit yesterday. Can I fly 6?
No. And I was even talking about this with my friend today. The 11 bird fly should be after the 20 bird fly, because you're taking your 11 birds out of your 20 bird kit. You're going to take your best birds, right, to fly in that 11 bird kit.
Yeah, truly. Yeah.
The same week, you're gonna try to fly your 20 bird kit, you know, and they're gonna be working different.
Yeah.
It's different. So that's a struggle. But yeah, you have to anyway. If you were to get hit, you know, in your A team or whatever, he lost 2 birds last week. You know, two of his birds last week, and then when I was there, he got 2 of them chased off. I think that was 1 he lost. I mean, the numbers go down pretty fast with the feeding the hawks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the birds of prey, man. I have a female Harris hawk, big old bird. I can pert near, just hold a bird in the air and the thing will come down to the ground. It just knows when, you know, it's got us figured out.
Oh, they know where all the pigeon lofts are in the city, at least. I mean, that's just like how we know where the McDonald's are.
I think they'll move on eventually, you know, because it's totally seasonal. I don't see this stuff, you know, in the springtime. It's not the same. You know, they'll migrate, they'll find another spot to chill, but they'll come back next year. Same.
Yeah. You know, maybe the ones that are migrating from someone else's place for that season are migrating to your place. You know, it's like, well, I feel like I see them kind of year round. I mean, but there's also so many different breeds and stuff, and so that's what we're going to be doing on this, right? So anybody with birds of prey problems like this, here we go. We're going to be bringing on Falconeer. I don't know if he has other birds that aren't falcons. I don't know if he's considered still a falconeer, but he's a bird.
What, a falconer or a hawker?
Hawker, or
I think it's hawker. We'll find out. No, but I'm serious. It sounds weird, but I think they're hawking. They're hawkers.
I think that sounds like something you were talking about earlier with the pigeon peddlers. Those guys are hawkers too.
Yeah, they're hawking pigeons, but I mean, so are these guys. So
Yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the birds of prey with Captain Jack Bowman.
Yep, a member of the Arizona Pigeon Club, and we actually have a few guys in our club that are either current falconeers, hawkers, whatever, boppers, or have in the past. Just all bird people and stuff like that. But we're going to be picking his brain.
Boppers. Big boppers.
So hopefully we can get some information from him about
very cool
what we can do, and just learn a little bit about them, and because you can't hunt them, so you got to kind of find a way to live with them and still keep doing the pigeon thing.
You can't live with them, but you
could totally live without them. I think you could live without them. But
yes, I could totally live without them. I could live without them, but whatever. They're beautiful. I give them that. They're very impressive, but geez, they're hard on my pigeons.
Yeah. So don't miss out on that one. Make sure that you're following the Spotify or however you listen, Google Podcasts, whatever. Follow us so that way you don't miss the next one. It's going to be all about. We're going to be talking with the master of the birds of prey and pick his brain and see what we can do and learn a little bit about him so that way we can help our own birds out too.
Hey, National Roller Fly is Thursday through Sunday. Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to talk with Ricky and make sure we get some stats and everything and see how everybody's doing.
They'll be flying 11 bird here on Thursday. And I believe it's Saturday. So kind of cool.
Yeah, well, definitely.
Saturday is 20 bird.
Hopefully those guys get some good weather, not so much wind like before, and everyone gets a good fly.
Yep. Good luck to everybody.
Yep, that's the guys. Make sure to check out the Facebook page for the All About Pigeons podcast. I've been all the memes on there are homebrewed for me, so that's why they're not any good. So I hope you enjoy them.
He's just too twisted.
Thanks for listening.